Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fandomology, where fandoms collide. And I initially was not planning on doing any streams tonight, but this was kind of something that came together just a few hours ago. And I decided for one thing, excuse me, I decided for one thing that I wanted to go ahead and try and make it up to you guys regarding that last music stream I did and choking out on a lot of the songs. So we're going to go ahead and make up for that tonight. And also, I'm going to be having coffee on Korriban, assuming everything works out well. I'm going to be having coffee on Korriban on the channel tonight, and we are going to be talking about a pretty substantial theory that I came up with regarding Ahsoka. And as far as the title, are things happening in the order we think they are? That'll all make sense here very, very shortly. But for now, we're going to do some music. So we're going to go for about an hour of music. Hopefully my voice holds up because I've already done a full day of singing today. As always, if you guys have any requests, make sure to leave them in the chat. So let's start. Had to make sure the tone was working. All right, let's start with this one. If never I met you, I'd never have seen you cry. Not for the first hello, we never have to say goodbye. If never I held you, my feelings would never show. This time I start walking, but there's so much that you'll never know. I keep telling you, hard luck woman, you ain't a hard luck woman. Rex, the sailor's only daughter, a child of the water, too proud to be a queen. Rex, I really love you, I can't forget about you. You'll be a hard luck woman, maybe till you find your man. Before I go, let me kiss you, wipe the tears from your eyes. Don't wanna hurt you, girl, you know I could never lie. I keep telling you, hard luck woman, you ain't a hard luck woman. You'll be a hard luck woman, maybe till you find your man. Rex, the sailor's only daughter, a child of the water, too proud to be a queen. Rex, I really love you, I can't forget about you. You'll be a hard luck woman, baby, till you find your man. Rex, the sailor's only daughter, a child of the water, too proud to be a queen. Rex, I really love you, I can't forget about you. You'll be a hard luck woman, baby, till you find your man. You'll be a hard luck woman, baby, till you find your man. All right, now let me pull up some lyrics here for this next song, because it's going to be kind of relevant to what we're talking about tonight. Well, relevant in the sense that it's about one of the characters that we're talking about tonight. And I did this I did this last time, and I think this is partially what led to me blowing my voice out last stream. So I'm going to do it a key down from where it was before. And hello in the chat to Blazerhawk Darren. Thanks for joining. Actually, no. I'm going to do it in the key I originally sung it in. All right, here we go. It had been 10 years since we last met, but there we were again. And I couldn't help still feeling just like that boy of 10. That long fall into the Gondar's nest was nothing to the pounding in my chest. I knew right then that you were the love of my life. It must have been the will of the Force that Obi-Wan and I arrived. If we hadn't, when that hunter struck, I'm not sure you'd have survived. The day we left to hide on that roof, I was overjoyed and you were too. And with that first kiss you became the love of my life. I fight the Clone Wars by myself just to hear your voice again. Walk the Muldoon Sea to see your smile. I take the fires of Mustafar and endure the worst kind of pain, just to have more time with you, the love of my life. When I was breathing my mother's death, you were there to comfort me. You listened as I raved about my Tusken atrocities. When it seemed our death was near, we were brave and made our feelings clear. I told you that you were the love of my life. I often shed a tear when I recall our wedding day. It was just you and me, no one else to get in our way. But the war had other plans, though it was nothing our love could not withstand. Through it all, you remain the love of my life. When you told me you were with child, I didn't know what to say. My dreams would frighten me, you would die on your delivery day. If I lost you the way I lost my mother and me to a greater cost, so I gave myself to the dark side to save you. Now you're gone, and now I'm not the same man I was before. My body's ruined now, my soul completely torn. The cruelest part about my fate is my lust for power became so great. It overshadowed you, the love of my life. I find the Clone Wars by myself just to hear your voice again. Walk the Muldoon Sea to see your smile. I take the fires of blue stuff on and endure the worst kind of pain, just to have more time with you, the love of my life. I hate to say it, but you were right. Our secret love destroyed us both that night, but I still do not regret the love of my life. Yeah, I still do not regret the love of my life. All right. Blazerhawk Darren says, follow this up with The Saga Begins. You got it. Let me get my capo placed in the right place. Actually, do it here. There we go. All right, by request, The Saga Begins. A long, long time ago, in a galaxy far away, Naboo was under an attack. And I thought me and Qui-Gon Jinn could talk the Federation into maybe cutting them a little slack. Their response, it didn't thrill us. They locked the doors and tried to kill us. We escaped from that gas and met Jar Jar and Boss Nass. We took a bongo from the scene and we went to Thee to see the Queen. We all wound up on Tatooine. That's where we found this boy. By the way, hello to Leia Rose. Oh my, this here Anakin guy. Maybe Vader someday later, now he's just a small fry. He left his home and kissed his mommy goodbye, saying soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. Soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. Did you know this junkyard slave isn't even old enough to shave? He can use the Force, they say. Oh, do you see him talking to the Queen? Well, he's just 9 and she's 14. Yeah, he's probably gonna marry her someday. Well, I know we built C-3PO, and I've heard how fast his pod could go, and we were broke, it's true. So we made our way through. He was a pre-princess in mayonnaise, and the minute Jabba started off that race, well, I knew who would win first place. So yes, it was our boy. We started singing, my, this here Anakin guy. Maybe Vader someday later, now he's just a small fry. He left his home and kissed his mommy goodbye, saying soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. Soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. Now we finally got to Coruscant. The Jedi Council really want to see how good the boy could be. So we took it there and we told the tale how his midi-chlorians were off the scale, and he might fulfill that prophecy. Oh, the council was impressed, of course, but he brings balance to the Force. They interviewed the kid. Oh, what training they forbid, because Yoda sensed in him much fear. Qui-Gon said, now listen here, just stick it in your boy's ear. I still will teach this boy. He was singing, my, this here Anakin guy. Maybe Vader someday later, now he just a small fry. He left his home and kissed his mommy goodbye, saying soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. Soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. We caught a ride back to Naboo, 'Cause Queen Amidala wanted to. I frankly would have liked to stay. We all fought in that epic war, and it wasn't long at all before little hotshot flew his plane and saved the day. In the end, some Gungans died, ships blew up and some pilots fried. A lot of folks were clean, the battle droids were broken, and the Jedi I admire most met up with Darth Maul and now he's toast. I'm still here and he's a ghost. I guess I'll trade this boy. And I was singing, my, this here Anakin guy. Maybe Vader someday later, now he's just a small fry. He left his home and kissed his mommy goodbye, saying soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. Soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. We were singing, my, this here Anakin guy. Maybe Vader someday later, now he's just a small fry. He left his home and kissed his mommy goodbye, saying soon I'm gonna be a Jedi. All right. Darren says, do you know the Star Wars song the other Star Wars song that Weird Al spoofed? It's called Yoda, which is from the Kinks song Lola. I have heard it. I don't think I have tried singing it before, but I can definitely try. Give me a second. All right. Let me get a version that has the lyrics where I don't have to scroll. Give me 1 second here. I will do my best attempt with it. All right, here we go. So, by request, this is the other. Darren says, do or do not, there is no try. Fair enough. All right, so by request, this is Yoda by Weird Al Yankovic. Actually, I'm going to take it up a key. Met him in a swamp down in Dagobah, where it bubbles all the time like a giant carbonated soda. S-O-D-A soda. I saw the little run sitting there on a log. I asked him his name and in a raspy voice he said Yoda. Y-O-D-A Yoda. Yoda. I'm not dumb, but I can't understand how he can lift me in the air just by raising his hand. Oh, wait. Wrong words. Let me back up a bit. Well, I've been around, but I ain't never seen a guy who looks like a Muppet, but he's wrinkled and green. Oh, my Yoda. Yoda. Well, I'm not dumb, but I can't understand how he can lift me in the air just by raising his hand. Oh, my Yoda. 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 Well, I left home just say go together and I'll show you the force. Well, I'm not the kind that would argue with me, so it looks like I'm gonna start all over again with my Yoda. Yo, 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 Yoda. Yo, 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 Yoda. So I used the force. I picked up a box. I lifted some rocks while I stood on my head. Well, I won't forget what Yoda said. He said, Luke, stay away from the darker side. If you start to go astray, let the force be your guide. Oh, my Yoda. Yo, 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 Yoda. I know Darth Vader's really got you annoyed, but remember, if you kill him, then you'll be unemployed. Oh, my Yoda. Yo, 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 Yoda. Yo, 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 Yoda. Well, I heard my friends really got a mess, so I'm gonna have to leave Yoda again. But I know that I'll be coming back someday. I'll be playing this part till I'm old and gray. The long-term contract I had to sign says I'll be making these movies the end of time with my Yoda. Yo, 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 Yoda. Yo, 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 Yoda. And boy, did that last part really age well. I'll be playing this part till I'm old and gray. I'll be making these movies till the end of time. Thanks, Disney, for making that statement prophetic. Darren saying impressive, most impressive. Thank you. All right. Let's not do something as vocal intensive now, because I am starting to get worried I might blow my voice out again. All right, let's do... Let's see, what's another one of mine we can do? Ooh, I ain't done this one in a minute. But give me 1 second. I'm actually going to switch guitars for this one. This one needs my 6th string, because this is kind of more bluegrassy, you could almost say. So, all right. And of course, make sure Tonewood gets hooked up. Not exactly the most convenient thing to do, but it works. This is the guitar I used today when I went to go play music with Mom for the residents she cares for at her retirement home she works at. Make sure the settings are right. There we go. All right. So this next song was one that I wrote. Do something that Phil McCracken hates. I've got something for that here in just a moment. But this next one is one that I actually wrote, kind of based off of something I used to play a lot on either this channel or the Everything Else guys. And it's going to be coming back very soon once I clear out other games I've played. But this is a song I wrote about Skyrim, and it's called A Song of Unity. Legions gather round, lay your weapons down. The time for peace has finally come around. Ulfric is no more, the hardship of his war is finally ended by the grace of shore. Skyrim's land was cleansed when Ulfric met his end. With a shout, King Torrig was avenged. We thanked a dragonborn, his weapons bent and worn, but through his deeds our land has been reborn. Come, Lords of Skyrim, hear my song of unity. You'd be unwise to throw away this opportunity. A time of healing and respect the Nine Divines shall see. Let Sovngarde await the ones who died in glory. Our brothers we did fight on these opposing sides. It's time to set hostility aside. Your rival now turn friend, old friendships on the mend, and families reunited once again. Come, Lords of Skyrim, hear my song of unity. You'd be unwise to throw away this opportunity. A time of healing and respect the Nine Divines shall see. Let Sovngarde await the ones who died in glory. A new king will be crowned, his reign will be profound, and from the woes of strife will be undown. Tamriel be known, attacks we won't condone, against this hard-earned peace that we have sown. Come, Lords of Skyrim, hear my song of unity. You'd be unwise to throw away this opportunity. A time of healing and respect the Nine Divines shall see. Let Sovngarde await the ones who died in glory. Come, Lords of Skyrim, hear my song of unity. You'd be unwise to throw away this opportunity. A time of healing and respect the Nine Divines shall see. Let Sovngarde await the ones who died in glory. All right. And now do something that Phil McCracken hates. I don't know that Phil's even watching right now. But let's see. Here's one that I just wrote as a joke, and I never finished it, but I'll sing as much as I have written. And keep in mind that some of these are kind of outdated jokes, but at the same time, I still think they're funny, so we're going to go with it. So this is called the Phil McCracken song, sung to the tune, of course, of Davy Crockett's. Far away in the state of Delaware lives a living legend in his evil lair. He hops on different channels from stream to stream. He talks really crazy, or so it would seem. Phil McCracken loves the ivy at Wrigley Field. I'm going to sing that first verse again, but add a word. Far away in the Yankee state of Delaware lives a living legend in his evil lair. He hops on different channels from stream to stream. He talks really crazy, or so it would seem. Phil McCracken loves the ivy at Wrigley Field. You always know it's him when the chat you see. Buster bars and coupons for Mickey D's. He'll make up silly hashtags all the time, like hashtag justice for Star Trek 5. Phil McCracken, he really likes Jean-Luc Picard. He claims Cash Money doesn't like redheads. Mentioning Matt Rispin makes him lose his head. If you question the metalness of Zeppelin, he'll blow up like a hand grenade without the pin. Phil McCracken is addicted to Star Trek 5. And that's all I have. So, I really do need to finish that song though at some point. It's not one that I would record, but I would do it just for a laugh. Let's see. All right. Let me grab some more of this. And let's do this one. I did this one. Darren says still relevance. You are right. All right, let's do this one. I've gotta tell you what I'm feeling inside. I could lie to myself, but it's true. There's no denying that I look in your eyes. Girl, I'm out of my head over you. I've went so long. Hold on, let me get the words just to make sure. We're gonna start this one over. Okay, there we go. All right, we're gonna start this one over. I've gotta tell you what I'm feeling inside. I could lie to myself, but it's true. There's no denying when I look in your eyes. Girl, I'm out of my head over you. And I've lived so long believing all of is blind. But everything about you is telling me this time it's forever. This time I know and there's no doubt in my mind. Forever. Until my life is through, girl, I'll be loving you forever. I hear the echo of a promise I made. When you're strong, you can stand on your own. Those words grow distant as I look in your face. No, I don't wanna go it alone. I never thought I'd lay my heart on the line. But everything about you is telling me this time it's forever. This time I know and there's no doubt in my mind. Forever. Until my life is through, girl, I'll be loving you forever. Yeah. I see my future when I look in your eyes. It took your love to make my heart come alive. 'Cause I live my life believing all of is mine. But everything about you is telling me this time it's forever. This time I know and there's no doubt in my mind. Forever. Until my life is through, girl, I'll be loving you forever. It's forever. This time I know and there's no doubt in my mind. Forever. Until my life is through, girl, I'll be loving you forever. All right. Let's my voice is actually starting to weaken a little bit, but I'll keep going for as long as I'm able. Let's see. Let's do one that I did earlier today. And this is a song that Elvis recorded. And we all, of course, know that Elvis is pretty much the king of rock and roll, but he also had a prolific career of recording and singing gospel music. And this is one that I really like that he did that was on his first gospel album, and it's called If That Isn't Love. He left the splendor of heaven, knowing his destiny was the lonely hill of Golgotha, there to lay down his life for me. And if that isn't love, then the ocean is dry. There's no stars in the sky, and the little sparrow can't fly. If that isn't love, then heaven's a myth. There's no feeling like this. If that isn't love, even in death he remembered the thief hanging by his side, and he spoke with love and compassion, and he took him to paradise. And if that isn't love, then this ocean is dry. There's no stars in the sky, and the little sparrow can't fly. If that isn't love, then heaven's a myth. There's no feeling like this. If that isn't love. All right, let's switch back to the 12 string now. Which means I got to carry over my little magic box here with me. And Leia Rose has a request for some John Denver. So I will do that. But I'm going to do something a little different this time around. Because everyone knows Country Roads, and it is a great song. But there's another John Denver song that I like singing along with that one. And it's a song written about a boat, by the way. A boat that was piloted and captained by Jacques Cousteau, and it's called Calypso. All right, so let me get the words real quick. Here we go. on a crystal clear ocean, to ride on the crest of a wild raging storm, to work in the service of life and the living, the search of the answers to questions unknown, to be part of the moving, part of the growing, part of beginning, to understand. My Calypso, the places you've been to, the things that you've shown us, the stories you tell. I, Calypso, I sing to your spirit, the men who have served you so long and so well. Like the dolphin who guides you, who bring us beside you, to light up the darkness and show us the way. For though we are strangers in your silent world, to live on the land we must learn from the sea. To be true as the tide, free as the wind swell, joyful and loving in letting it be. I, Calypso, the places you've been to, the things that you've shown us, the stories you tell. I, Calypso, I sing to your spirit, the men who have served you so long and so well. I, Calypso, the places you've been to, the things that you've shown us, the stories you tell. I, Calypso, I sing to your spirit, the men who have served you so long and so well. All right. Let's do this one now. Beth, I hear you calling, but I can't come home right now. Me and the boys are playing, but we just can't find the sound. Just a few more hours, and I'll be right home to you. I think I hear them calling. Oh, Beth, what can I do? Beth, what can I do? You say you feel so empty, that our house just ain't a home. I'm always somewhere else, and you're always there alone. Just a few more hours, and I'll be right home to you. I think I hear them calling. Oh, Beth, what can I do? Beth, what can I do? Beth, I know you're lonely, and I hope you'll be alright. 'Cause me and the boys will be playing all night. All night. All right, let me me double check my tuning real quick in this one because something sounds off. There's the culprits. Double check the other ones just in case. There we go. All right, let's see. Let's do this one. Of course, everyone knows this one. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that's led me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Oh, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. All right. Here's one that I meant to do earlier today for Mom's residence, but I've completely forgot about it. So I'm going to go ahead and do it now. On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. To the old rugged cross I will ever be true, its shame and reproach gladly bear, till he calls me someday to my home far away, where his glory forever I'll share. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. All right. I think we got time for maybe two more, and then we'll move into the main event of the night. So let's just go ahead and blow my voice out the rest of the way. Why not? Starting, of course, with this one. Ooh, real quick. Hello to my friend Ian, the headless guitarist, who says, nice surprise. You by yourself? For now, yes. But here in about 6 minutes, Tim's going to come on here with me, and we're going to talk an Ahsoka theory. If you'd like, once I'm done with music, I can send you the link also, Ian, because I might want to hear your thoughts on this too. If you know it's not too late for you. All right, let's get back to what we were doing, though. Out on the street for a living, pictures only begun. Got you under their thumb. Hit it! Out on the streets for a living, pictures only begun. Your day is sorrow and madness, got you under their thumb. Black diamond, black diamond. Darkness will fall on the city, it seems to follow you too. And though you don't ask for pity, but there ain't nothing you can't do. No. Black diamond, black diamond. with madness. Got you under their thumb, yeah. Ooh. Black diamond, yeah, yeah. Ooh. Black diamond. And then just because Ian is here, early misty morning, just before the dawn, an empty tomb, a broken body gone. Thieves have done their bidding before the light of day. They've stolen him and taken him away. Let me break apart the secrets you've held in your heart. Awaken now. Remember words you've hid away. I promise to rise after the third day. It's me, do you remember all the things we've hoped for and waited for so long? The kingdom of deliverance is gone. Faded like a candle, snuffed out to kill the light. The morning comes away into the night. Let me break apart the secrets you held in your heart. Awaken now. Remember words you've hid away. My promise to rise after the third day. It's me, do you remember? Remember, glory, glory, hope is alive and lifted up before your eyes, waking all the world. Open things to paradise. Now it's done, life has come, death is died. Easter morning, what an ending to the story. My son, arise. All right, and with that, we are going to go ahead and bring an end to the musical section, and we're going to get right into the main event. So give me a quick second to get my headphones put in, and I will send out the links to everyone that's going to be joining, because we have a very interesting discussion tonight. Something that I think has some pretty major ramifications for the Ahsoka show as a whole. So let me get everyone in here real quick. Ian, you get the link, and Tim, I am DMing you. He says, sitting here playing along with that melody on the gym. Awesome, man. All right, and Tim, I am sending you the link now. Just make sure. Okay, there's the normal setting. Okay. All right, so we'll give everyone a quick second to gather in here and let me catch my breath. Doing songs like Black Diamond and, of course, Easter, which, by the way, that is a Theocracy song. They're a Christian metal band, and you should absolutely look them up. My first guest is in here tonight, so we're going to go ahead and bring him in. Please welcome. He's got his mug ready. Coffee on Korriban.
Hello there.
Hello there, General Kenobi.
I'm the bold one, I guess. So, all right. I'm very excited to talk about this. Lots of theorizing, a lot of questions up in the air about this episode. And you brought something up really interesting to me earlier today. You just called me and you were like, what do you think about this? And honestly, for a second, I was kind of, my mind was blown.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking about it and I was like, wait a minute, that could work. It's really interesting to think about. And I'll let you introduce that to the people
Okay.
watching, but that's very interesting to think about.
I do want to just say real quick before we get into any of that, how fun is it to just sit here and theorize about something that we're enjoying instead of just complaining about something we don't like?
Yes, and that's what blows my mind about all of the people complaining about this episode. And naturally, not everyone's going to like everything, but the amount of vitriol coming out of some people, it's like, this is the fifth episode. Why are you still watching at this point? So that was very interesting. But
Yes, it
yeah, for us that are fans that are actually enjoying this, it's fun to theorize. This is what we live for, is just talking about what's going on.
exactly. And I personally only theorize about things that I actually like. You didn't see me doing this for Andor. You didn't see me doing this for Book of Boba
Sure.
Fett. You didn't see me doing this for Kenobi or Mando season 3. But since Ahsoka has, at least to me, by my standards, been a consistently solid show, then yeah, of course my mind is going to go along with these theories.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and get into this now. When Ian gets here, we'll get him catched up. So let me set the scene for those that, for basically you guys to understand where my head was when this theory came to me. So I was driving down the road and I was listening to Tim's latest video on Ahsoka episode 5, the one called Making Sense Out of All this. And would you mind giving, just for those that haven't seen it, first off, you should, but for those that have not seen it, can you give like an abridged version of that?
Sure. It's a longer video than I normally make. Usually, these types of explanation, philosophical little mini deep dives are usually about 2 or 3 minutes long. This one was almost 7 minutes long, which for me is it's quite a lengthy video. But to sum it up best, I would I was trying to summarize what my best explanation of the events of this episode were, and a lot of confusion as to, is this the world between worlds? Is Ahsoka dead? Is this Anakin? Why is he evil? How can Hera hear the lightsabers? And I had joined on your stream the other day, kind of touching on some of that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to kind of put a cohesive message together as to, if you're lost, this is what may be going on. Not that I know everything, because I obviously don't, but
I understand, man. And hey, but that's okay, man. As long as you're able to put your thoughts in the chat, though, that's good. That's good enough, Ian.
yeah, we'll bounce off those.
Yeah.
But not so much of this is exactly what's going on, but more of, this is a way that I wanted to lay it out that makes the most sense to the most people. And we can get into a little bit more details of those different things that I mentioned in the video. I hit like 30 different points in the video. It's
Mm-hmm.
really compact. But essentially, the part that lands best with me in all of those theories and speculations is that Ahsoka was going to die. She was essentially in limbo in those fleeting moments after death where Qui-Gon taught Obi-Wan and Yoda to use the Force in a way to come back as a Force ghost. That the little space right after death, and Ahsoka or Anakin assuming the role of the father of Mortis, the balance of the Force, came to her to teach her that final lesson that she needed to separate herself from the legacy of Anakin. And she is not Anakin. She's different. And then from there, the little different theories on the side coming off of that. But that was just to I mean, it wasn't a very quick summary, but that gives you an
Right.
idea of what I talked about in that episode. Very insightful, and I think answers a lot of questions that a lot of people still have.
Yes, and I do believe that that is a very good explanation as to what overall was happening with that whole scene. Although there is one part of your video that I really want to focus on, and that is how you described Ahsoka's demeanor leading up to her encounter in that Force vision, if that's what we're going with here.
Yep.
You described her as very reserved, we'll say, very distant from everyone. You
Yeah.
know, she's always just standing there with her arms crossed.
Right, and that was people's biggest complaint about her character in this. I've seen so many memes of something happens on screen, Ahsoka. and there's some truth to that. I mean, she was a very passive main character.
Exactly.
Things just kind of happened, and then she reacted. There was nothing that she did that was active in those roles. Very stoic, very Ronin off. You know, you help people, but you have no real purpose. And we saw a complete shift in that. Everyone was talking about Ahsoka, the White, coming back. But that's what we got at the end of the episode. A major countenance change. And she's just existing as a totally different character after this Force vision.
And Ian says, my biggest problem with the show is that exactly. And I've seen of course, I've seen those people too that are complaining about that. But what really got me thinking, and I've seen other people point this out too, is that doesn't match when we last saw this live action version of Ahsoka in Book of Boba Fett, where she is noticeably more cheerful. Now, granted, she's still speaking in a professional manner when she speaks to Mando and to Luke, but she's happier, she's smiling, and she hardly does that in her own show before her encounter in that Force vision.
Correct, which is a major complaint that goes along with that. Not that just she's acting that way, but why do we see her hopeful and in good spirits in those other shows, and then somehow in her own show now she has this bad attitude? It would seem like it's just a way to shoehorn in a character arc where there normally wouldn't be one. So that is a point of contention for a lot of people still. And then that's where you came in and you called me with a theory. So go ahead and explain that.
And the moment I hit this theory, I called you up and basically explained it like this. I think the reason people are getting upset with this tone and mentality shift with Ahsoka is because they're assuming that all of these Mandoverse shows are happening chronologically in the order that they're released. Mando season 1 leads to season 2, leads to Book of Boba Fett, leads to Mando season 3, leads to Ahsoka. And my theory that I want to submit for everyone's consideration today is that is not how it's happening. That Ahsoka takes place before to a little bit during Book of Boba Fett. So here's the timeline that I propose. We have the episode in Mando season 2 that Ahsoka appears in, and she captures Morgan Elsbeth, and Morgan Elsbeth is taken into custody. But what if Morgan Elsbeth, we don't know how long she was in custody, because, and you've said this before, that one of the biggest drawbacks to the Mandoverse is there's no scale of time. Things just kind of happen when they happen, right?
And here's another thing that I just thought of on that point, since we're just kind of talking and theorizing on the fly. She captures Morgan Elsbeth. What do we see in the beginning of this Ahsoka series? Morgan Elsbeth in custody. Timelines would match up so that we get Mando season 3. Is it Mando season 3?
Mando season 2.
Season 2 with Morgan Elsbeth. Yes, thank you. I don't know why. I didn't care for 3 all that much, so it kind of blurred for me. But we have Mando season 2 with Ahsoka capturing Morgan Elsbeth and that whole arc. And that would also tie in with maybe why she is so reluctant to even entertain the thought of training Grogu.
That didn't hit me till just now.
Because when we see her with Sabine in the beginning of this series, she doesn't want to train her at all.
Exactly.
Same way that she doesn't want to train Grogu. You know, he is too old, he has too much attachments, whatever excuses she wants to make up, because she's already abandoned one of her Padawans by that point. So the timeline would seem to indicate she captures Morgan Elsbeth, transfers her to the New Republic officers who are going to take her back to Coruscant. I
Hmm.
mean, the start of this series, for all we know, could be days after that episode in Mando season 2.
Exactly. And so to go another layer onto that as to why she wouldn't train Grogu, that whole part, that whole Force vision,
I,
you said
I
it,
just I
was
just
about
realized, should I
her.
mooch?
Mooch
Okay,
all the heck you
I'm gonna mooch
want.
it up. I'm gonna mooch it up.
Okay. Tonight, the role of Darth Mooch is played by Coffee on Korriban. So while you're going through that, though, let me add another layer to that reason why she may not want to train Grogu, according to our theory here, because she's still harboring that regret and just overall bad feeling of Anakin turning to the dark side and still feeling like she is Anakin's legacy. You know, Baylan Skoll said it herself that your legacy, like your master's, is death and destruction. So go back to when she said in Mando season 2 that attachments basically brought down the greatest of the Jedi, and something like that would be too dangerous to happen again. Doesn't that make
No.
sense?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And to Blazer Hawk Darren's point, maybe we will get to see her meet Luke, because if that hasn't happened yet, we may still yet get the moment of does she know Anakin is redeemed at this point?
I mean, maybe that scene in the Force
Because
Vision could
she
give her a
obviously
hint.
right, and she obviously knows that he has been redeemed in the book of Boba Fett.
Yes.
But if we're and that makes a whole lot of sense as to how she interacted with Anakin in this moment, because she could have been this whole time viewing that as just a pure Force vision, not actually happening, which is why she's so perturbed by seeing Anakin turn, with his Sith eyes and red lightsaber and all of that. She
Exactly.
probably just assumes this is a Force vision. She might not even know that he turned back to the light side
Right. Real
at
quick
the
though,
end.
I know you just went live. Do you want to let's get your viewers up to speed real quick?
Sure. Well, we're mooching again. So Paul and I have done
Yes.
this a few times where one of us is streaming, we have the other on, and we stream because StreamYard will let us do this where we can stream to both audiences at the same time. So if you're coming here from my channel, this is Paul from Fandomology, formerly the Star
Hello.
Wars guys, and great conversations. If you find it in your heart to subscribe, let's get him to 500 subscribers. That would be awesome if we could do that tonight. But we are talking some wild Ahsoka theories, specifically something that should be obvious the way that I'm thinking about it now, that no one really has been talking about. The main criticism of Ahsoka in this show is that she was too stoic in the beginning, and it didn't line up with who we saw in the book of Boba Fett when she was on whatever planet that was with Luke and overseeing Grogu. That Ahsoka is much closer to the Ahsoka we see now, that she is redeemed or force baptized, whatever you want to put it, Ahsoka the White. So the timeline that we're throwing around as a theory is that we got Mando season 2, where she captures Morgan Elsbeth, transfers her to the New Republic officers to take her to Coruscant for punishment, trial, whatever. And immediately after that, the ship is attacked by Baylan and Shin, and we get thrust into the events of this Ahsoka series, which takes place between Mando season 2 and the Book of Boba Fett. So
Yes.
we may still get the scene where she finds out that Anakin was in fact redeemed, that he has a son, and then explains to Luke, I knew your father, I trained with him. We may still get that, and that is something that, until you mentioned it to me earlier today, I have not heard anyone else talk about.
Exactly. Because as I said on my own stream, I think everyone has just kind of been taking for granted that everything's happening chronologically in the release order. But
Yes.
here's the thing. Star Wars has a history of releasing things out of order. I mean, how many times have we made jokes about them releasing 4, 5, and 6 before 1, 2, and 3? And to
Right.
go beyond that even further, there's episodes in like the first 3 or 4 seasons of the Clone Wars that are out of order of each other. So Star Wars is known for doing things, for releasing things out of chronological order.
Right. I mean, what was the most recent? One of the most recent shows we've gotten, Andor,
Andor.
which takes place before a movie that came out, what, 8 years ago,
Yeah,
which is a precursor to the original film that came out in '77. So the timeline's all over the place anyway. And by this point, you you should know what's going on. And I get the average Star Wars fan maybe doesn't know the ins and outs of timelines and all that. I know Father Time, he's a regular on my channel, still asks me, so wait, when does this take place again? And the criticism for that, of course, is people shouldn't have to do their research to enjoy a particular product. But
right.
I mean, that's what fandomology is knowing the things to enjoy them more. And at some point, you have to cross that line from appealing to the masses to putting something out that the people that put you there in the first place and supported your brand will appreciate. I think that's what they're doing with this Ahsoka show. And at some point, it's like, yeah, if the casual person isn't going to get really as much out of this, and then of course it's a marketing decision, it's a business, they have to make their money, so that plays into it. But at some point, you're going to have to take those risks, and I think switching up the timelines is just something they had to do to tell this story.
Exactly, because I remember kind of in the immediate aftermath of that one Book of Boba Fett episode coming, Dave Filoni did say that he already knew in his head how Luke and Ahsoka met and how he basically revealed to Ahsoka that Vader had been redeemed. So I think, again, going back to the timeline that I'm presenting here, we have the Mando Season 2 episode where Ahsoka captures Morgan Elsbeth. She's still kind of lonerish and, kind of reserved. Like we already said, she doesn't want to train Grogu because she has those reservations about attachments. She's already abandoned Sabine. So Morgan Elsbeth gets captured. We don't know how much time passes, but let's say that after she gets done capturing Morgan Elsbeth, she, with the help of Hu Yang, travels to that one planet where she found the ball, and then the events of Ahsoka play out from there.
Yep.
So I think,
and that makes perfect sense, because what do we see her doing from Morgan Elsbeth in Mando Season 2? Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn? That's the line we get left off of, right? What is she doing exactly at the beginning of this show? Looking for the Wayfinder, the MacGuffin, whatever you want to call it, because she knows Morgan Elsbeth's ties with the Night Sister Magics, the Dathomirian witches, and she knows that if she finds that, it'll possibly be able to lead her to this other galaxy. Yes. The timeline matches. It does not make sense to go from
this is exactly it. Exactly it right here. Ahsoka didn't smile in Mando Season 2, but she smiled in Book of Boba Fett.
Yes. It's all about the smile. And the only thing that I can think of right now that would be a criticism against that is that she's not wearing her white robes.
To which that's an easy explanation. Who here wears just one set of an outfit? Like, who here's...
I kind of wear just like the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of black t-shirts, but I still have variances between them.
Right. And I mean, it makes sense for her to wear the white robes right there, if nothing else, for just the symbolic nature at the end of this episode to show us that she is a completely different person and reformed after that point.
Yeah. So I think that scene in Book of Boba Fett where Ahsoka is there talking with Luke is where we're going with the show. We're going to I think the very last thing we're going to see in this show, after Ezra's been saved, after he and Sabine, have their happily ever after, Ahsoka is somehow going to end up with Luke on that planet where he's building his Jedi temple. They're going to meet for the first time, and Luke's going to reveal to Ahsoka that Vader was indeed redeemed.
Yes. So we will still, I'm confident, get that scene. What you just said, I hadn't heard that quote before about Dave Filoni talking about something about in that scene in Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
They had already had that conversation, and he knew from the very beginning how that was going to play out. Do you think he would know that and plan that and not give that to us at some point? This may
No,
be in
because it would be a
Ahsoka
wasted
season 2 or
opportunity.
whatever. We don't know exactly when we're going to get that. It would be a wasted opportunity. And this is something I said on my stream. I don't remember if this was Monday or the week before that. But I said, I don't hold Filoni up as the savior of Star Wars like so many other people do, because he's made some decisions that I don't agree with
Yeah.
in terms of storytelling and where the plot goes. But I trust that he's competent, and I trust that he will follow the story that he wants to write.
Exactly.
I don't think he is one to be influenced by a Kathleen Kennedy. I think he's going to tell the story he wants to, and if Ahsoka is his child and he already has the scene planned of when she reveals, or when she learns that Anakin has been redeemed from Luke and then tells him that he was her master, if he's been planning that, we're going to get it, and it's going to be done right. I do trust him for that.
Yes, and kind of tying in your own theory that Anakin has now adopted the role of the father. Who's to say he couldn't appear there too? Like we've been saying that from the beginning. At least for simple wish fulfillment, we'd like to see Anakin,
Right.
Ahsoka, and Luke all in the same scene. And honestly, if this timeline that we propose is correct, it's all the more likely.
And we've gotten two parts of that. We've gotten Luke and Anakin at the end of Return of the Jedi. We've gotten Luke and Ahsoka in the Book of Boba Fett. The one scene that we have not gotten yet that there is complete potential to happen is exactly that. And this just keeps blowing my mind that no one has been mentioning this. And maybe this is a blind spot for me, where I didn't put the dots together of exactly what's going on with the timeline. But now it seems completely obvious, and I don't know how I didn't think of that before.
Exactly.
Jake76, good to see you here from my Mooch stream. Here's a sip for you.
Yes.
To catch you up, we are talking about the, yes, headless guitarist, exactly. So what we're talking about, John Graber, good to see you again as well. So Jake and John, to catch you guys up, anyone else from my channel, we are talking about a theory. And for all I know, this may not even be news. This could be understood to the majority of people already, and we're just way off. But the theory is that it has nothing to do with the world between worlds, exactly what we got in this episode. The theory is that back in Mando Season 2, when we were first introduced to Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, she captures Morgan Elsbeth to find Grand Admiral Thrawn, right? Where is your master? Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn? Immediately from there, she gives Thrawn to the New Republic officers to be taken to Coruscant for trial or questioning. And on the way to Coruscant, their ship is hijacked by Balin and Shin. So what we are getting right now in Ahsoka are the events directly after Mando Season 2, before the Book of Boba Fett.
Exactly.
And the main criticism against Ahsoka, aside from her being stoic, which now we know is part of the character arc, is why was she not depressed and reserved in the Book of Boba Fett? Why was she so happy? You remind me so much of your father, right? And she was happy about that. Why would she do that and then go from that Ahsoka again to the stoic, reserved, depressed, life is meaningless Ahsoka that we got in the beginning of this series? The
Ahsoka that walked out on Sabine.
Right. But think of the Ahsoka in Book of Boba Fett compared to the one we got in the last 5 minutes of Episode 5. It's the exact same person. The timelines completely match up. And is this just me not getting it? Because we all assumed that it was whatever shows we've been getting in chronological order. Book of Boba Fett, now she goes off with Sabine to find Ezra and Thrawn.
Exactly. And like I said before, Star Wars has a history of releasing things out of order. Real quick, Jake76 says theory after the first Clone Wars flashback happens, I think, on Ryloth. Which, time out for a second. Yes, I was wrong earlier when I did my review. I thought that was Teth from the movie. No, that's Ryloth. So I was wrong on that. But anyways, he says after the first battle on Ryloth, I think after that the Tales of the Jedi training happens. That could happen.
With against the clones?
Yeah, where
Were you
she's
saying
trying
again?
like that's where she starts training with the clones firing and she kind of learns okay, I need a second lightsaber in order to really accentuate my form.
Yeah, I can see that. I just think they did that so well, so tastefully and respectfully, and they did a really good job in that whole. And I don't even like calling it a flashback scene because it was just like a reliving, but with a different perspective.
Exactly. And
Uh,
I want to touch on this too. Coach from Echo Base Network put out a video earlier talking about how allegedly the actress, I forget her name, might have been receiving some pushback on her appearance in Ahsoka because she said something about a tweet saying something like, I'll let you guys know how I'm feeling after the unpleasantness ended or something like that, which is a shame because that young actress did amazing here. And I
phenomenal
know,
job. And I have not heard any criticism against the Ahsoka. For all the people that against that Ahsoka, for all the people complaining about this episode and Anakin being in it and space whales and all the ridiculous things that people are saying, I have not personally seen or heard a single thing against what's her name? Greenblatt, Greenblatt,
Ariana
I think
Greenblatt,
is.
I think.
I have not heard a single criticism against her or the Ahsoka version that we
Yeah.
got.
The one
And
critique.
the loudest, the most upset people are going to be the loudest,
Mm-hmm.
and it's Star Wars. So part of it is grow a thick skin, but the outpouring of appreciation is overwhelming that I have seen for that character.
Yeah. The one critique I've seen with her, and again, I'm quoting Coach here, but he said that he and Nick basically would have liked to have heard Ashley Eckstein's voice being dubbed over her. But at the same time, at
I
least
didn't
for
care.
me, when I was watching it, I didn't feel that need. And if by that logic, we should have had Hayden Christensen dubbing over Matt Lantor in the Clone Wars. Same with Ewan McGregor instead of James Arnold Taylor.
Right.
Differences in voices between animation and real life is another thing that Star Wars is known for.
Right. And that's why I was so impressed with Hayden in this episode. Not because, like, oh, we actually get to see him act, because I thought he was a great actor in the prequels. He did exactly
Yeah,
what he was called upon to do. But because he played the role of live action Hayden Skywalker that we've gotten before, but with the mannerisms and speech patterns of Matt Lanter.
and
And
he
I
did
think he straddled that
amazingly with
line
it.
perfectly. It was so impressive. And I don't know if they manipulated the audio or dubbed with Matt Lanter, but it sounded like a perfect blend between the two. I was very
Especially
impressed with
when he
that.
was joking around.
Yes. Yeah, and that's why I said the mannerisms. Like, this wasn't the whiny teenage version of Anakin that we got in the movies, which has a place for it, and I'm not complaining about that because I
Mm-hmm.
love the character of Anakin in both of those movies. But the way that he bridged the gap and brought the seams together was phenomenal. And I didn't know that I was watching a live action Hayden Christensen. It was just Anakin in the Clone Wars, and so there was not a not a complaint from me on that.
Right.
I carry the show for a minute. I gotta give me 60 seconds.
Okay. Darren says young Ahsoka was a young Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, I feel like I heard that somewhere. And she was in the Barbie movie. And Ian says, yeah, but Hayden was obviously trying to make his voice sound like Matt, and it was obvious to him. He said obvious twice. That's all right, man. I repeat words all the time, too. But yes, it was. I noticed it, too, that Hayden was trying to absorb some of Matt Lantor's mannerisms for Anakin into his own. And again, just seeing Hayden Christensen wearing the actual armor that Anakin wore during the first half of the Clone Wars, it was just mwah. But yeah, anyways, though, guys, you guys that are in the chat, both in my channel and on Coffee on Korriban's, this theory that we have that Ahsoka takes place before Book of Boba Fett, what do you guys think? Do you guys agree with it? Do you guys not agree with it? Is there an angle that we have not considered? Please let us know, and we'll keep the stream going so that we can address that. However, there is one thing I do want to mention, kind of on the back of all of this hype that we've been having. I really, really, really hope, and now that you're back, Tim, I want your thoughts on this too. I'm just kind of voicing a concern that I have for the rest of the show. But I really do hope that, as good as this episode and this scene was, I hope this is not the peak. I hope that the rest of the episodes are not just flat compared to what we just got.
Right, and that'll be the challenge, because this felt like a finale episode. It kind of honestly did. If the beginning of if this was episode 8 and we had more stories or adventures or whatever in the last few episodes, and this was the finale and we had to wait a year for the continuation of the story for Ahsoka season 2, I would be fine with that. It was great as a let's cap this off and go on to the next thing. But then where do you go from that? How do you top that?
And here's the thing, even within this own episode, her cutting off, the vision with Anakin, the line, "There's hope for you yet," and she wakes up and she's pulled out of the water. I was expecting that to be the end, but no, it's all the stuff with the whales. And honestly, I was just exhausted from all the hype after the Anakin stuff was done that I barely cared about the whales.
So yeah, I think I was still just riding the high and it's soaking it all in at that point. So it wasn't a problem for me. Black Dragon, good to see you. Kay, good to see you as well.
Yes.
Welcome to the show. He
says, I don't think the series is being good enough for a season 2. I mean, I can definitely understand that.
Valid opinion. Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
I think people possibly, now granted, this all depends on how tolerant you are in this day and age of Disney and Lucasfilm and their business and political practices. Go by your own moral code on that one. But as far as just pure enjoyment of Star Wars, this could potentially be something that people look back on after a time and be like, hey, we shouldn't have slept on that.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing I don't get, and I might have a stream dedicated to this on Monday, is the amount of insane vitriol against this show. Like, I mean, we're both Christians. We've interacted with atheists, and then we've interacted with atheists, like militant atheists. It is their goal in life to make you cry because you believe in God.
Exactly.
That's the same kind of fervor that I've seen from some people. And it's like, to the atheist, I would say, okay, you don't believe in God. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Or leave me alone, I guess. Like,
or to use another analogy. To use another analogy, there's vegans, and then there's vegans like PETA.
Exactly. Yeah, and to the people relating it back to the Star Wars, it's the same exact kind of psychoactivism. It's like, we are at episode 5. If you were so predetermined to not like it, why are you here? Like, why are you even watching at this point? Yes, it's already way better than the sequel trilogy. I would ask those people that are so, oh, this is the dumbest show, they ruined everything. It's like, well, okay. Do you think this is better than the sequels?
Which, to be fair, is a low bar to set, but still.
Right, but I would ask them, like, we get it, you probably don't like the sequels, but how Does this compare to the sequels in your eyes, is what I would want to ask those people. I would assume they would say it's better, in which case I would just respond, then we're headed in a better direction, I guess. Leave it at that. But I don't understand how psycho they are about this.
Right.
Like their goal is to convince everyone else to have a bad time.
Mm-hmm. And Black Dragon says, I do like Rosario's portrayal as Ahsoka in this episode as opposed to before. She was much more animated like the Ahsoka we've watched before and not so
Let's
stoic.
bring it back to the entire point of this stream. So Black Dragon, great that you brought that up, because the theory that we are going off of, that we're talking about here, that's just blowing my mind the more that I think about it. Timelines, the chronological order of live action Ahsoka goes, as we're talking about right now in our theory, Mando season 2.
Specifically the episode with Ahsoka in it.
Yes. She captures Morgan Elsbeth and asks her, where is your master? Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn? She then, off screen, between episodes, delivers her to the New Republic officers to be taken to Coruscant for trial. En route to Coruscant, her ship is the ship that Morgan Elsbeth is on is attacked, and she is taken and freed by Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati. And we are thrust into the events of this series. So that Ahsoka, the one that was reluctant to train Grogu, who communicated with him and probably had a little bit of joy because, you know, it's Grogu. Like, you were from the temple. Cool. A little bit of nostalgia there and remembering my past. But she didn't want to train him. And she was bent on finding Thrawn through Morgan Elsbeth.
Not to mention her walking out on Sabine.
Right. That is the same Ahsoka that walked out on Sabine, that abandoned her, which is why she didn't want to train Grogu, who has her arms folded, who is very passive, who will help people in need, but has no real purpose, no hope, no joy, no passion. That is the Ahsoka we've had thus far in this series. Now that she is reborn, force baptized, whatever you want to call it, she has, as Black Dragon said, she's much more animated, like the Ahsoka we've watched before, not so stoic. Then, after the events of this Ahsoka show, we go to the Book of Boba Fett, where she is that happy, animated. You remind me just of your father.
Exactly.
To Luke, that we get later. That is her character arc. We're seeing the reason for the change in this series right here. And that explains a whole lot, because the criticism that other people have had of Ahsoka's portrayal in this show, aside from her being stoic, is that it doesn't make sense for her to be happy and positive in the Book of Boba Fett and then go to being stoic only to be redeemed, like a shoehorned in character arc. And I don't know if this, again, is this just something that I failed to pick up on? Does everyone else know this already and not me? But I feel like the general understanding is that this happens after Book of Boba Fett. When I'm pretty sure now that we're talking about it, it doesn't.
Exactly. Like, oh, hold on a second. KG's just added a whole other layer to this. It could have been Ahsoka when Grogu saw the whales at the beginning of Mando Season 3.
Bruh.
Wow.
I like that a whole lot, and I am making a video on this as soon as we end this stream.
Yeah, like...
Kay says vegetarian but not militant.
And by the way, hello to Cat DRL2, who says, I'm at work, but I wanted to share my gratitude for the last 3 videos you put up on Ahsoka. This is from your chat. Great analysis. Your voice is so calming.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. I would like to extend my gratitude for you, to you for watching the videos in the first place, and especially being active in the chat. I love when people are actually communicating. I appreciate that you think my voice is calming, because I don't like my voice.
He also says,
I don't think anyone likes their voice.
He also says, I'm sorry the hate has gotten so bad with this show. People are either Star Wars or Kathleen Kennedy haters and will never change their minds, and they're determined to voice that on social media. Yeah. Like, at that point, I really do think if you are just that anti everything Star Wars, and this is coming from someone that has by and large hated everything that Disney has done with Star Wars. But if you are in the mindset that absolutely nothing Disney has done, will do, or possibly can do with Star Wars is just going to be garbage, then for your own mental sanity, just walk away.
Just wait until you hear rumors of it being sold to another company, and then you can be interested again, potentially.
Exactly. And even then, I know that there will be some people that the damage is just done. Like
Yeah.
I know.
And that goes back to what I was talking about with the militant atheists. There's atheists, and then there's atheists, and their entire goal in life is to go around and evangelize their religion of non-religion. It's the same fervor that we
Which
see
in
with
itself
these.
is a religion.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's the same kind of fervor and blind militantism. That's really all I can, like, why else would they be so obsessed with commenting on every video how dumb we are for even enjoying the thing and calling us shills? It's like, well, I mean, I'm a Star Wars channel. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I would
Mm-hmm.
prefer it if I enjoyed the thing that I'm watching. And if I don't, I will call it out like I did with Mando Season 3. But just because
Exactly.
I enjoy something, like, doesn't mean I'm shilling. There was one comment I had on one of my videos that said something like, this show is too tailored to the hardcore Star Wars fan. Disney is doing a terrible job because it's not marketable to the masses. And my response was, so you care about Disney making money? Like that's your criticism, is that Disney's not going to make enough money? That's kind of a strange angle to come from.
Mm-hmm.
But the backlash has been just weird. It's just strange. The fan base has always been divided, and people have always had differing opinions. But as it is right now, it's just so weird how psycho some of those people are.
Exactly.
And this is completely different from someone like Black Dragon, who says, I like it, I don't love it. Or other people in my chat who have said, I don't really care for this show. Or even Coach, who likes some things and doesn't like other things. Those are all valid opinions.
And you want to know something? This is exactly why I said in that video that I did that ultimately I think now retconning the sequel trilogy would be a bad idea.
Yes.
Because, and again, I say this as someone that despises the sequel trilogy, but basically what I'm saying, what I said with that is, as divided as the fan base is now, it will be 10 times worse if you basically take away what those
Yes.
that do
Yes.
like Disney Star Wars
Yep.
like.
Here's a question. Do you accept the sequels? Not do you like them. Do you accept them?
Well, yes, but willingly is another question.
Mm.
It's one of those
Okay.
things where I almost feel like I have no choice.
Did you see my
Because
video from about 2 weeks ago on how to accept the sequels for haters? I
I
don't.
did.
Well, then this would be a perfect video for you, Headless
I'll,
Guitarist, to check out.
I'll send it to you, Ian. But yeah, I did see it, and ultimately I do agree. You do not have liking them and accepting them are two entirely different things.
Yes.
You do not have to like them. I don't.
Yes.
I never will.
I appreciate certain aspects of them. I like certain things about them. I love very few moments in them.
Ooh, here's something spicy. KG says that she does, but her husband doesn't. Ooh boy, is Star Wars like is that like a hands-off conversation for you guys?
Yeah, that's pretty spicy. But my point in saying that is, I don't like the sequels. I don't love them. There are things in them that I like, and other things that I really do like in the sequels. They're just buried under all the other garbage. But I accept them. Maybe not
Yes.
even into my headcanon yet, but for what they are and for what I can glean from them, I accept them. So, yeah, and so Headless Guitarist, definitely check out that video that I made. I'll send it to Paul and he can send it to you. And basically it was, here is how, if you hate everything sequels, how you can get yourself to let go of your hate and accept them for what they are. Not as good movies or anything, but just for what they are, to let go of your hate. So check that out and
Yes.
let me know what you think.
And
Definitely leave a
hello
comment
to
on the video
Brandon, the
with your
anime
thoughts.
guy, with his trademark hashtag Duck Disney.
Never heard of him.
And again, I'm not saying that is we're not saying that is invalid. There's plenty of reasons, both politically, economically, and story wise. There's plenty of reasons to
Yeah.
hate Disney.
And yeah, Blazerhawk, exactly. Some of us it'll take time to accept the sequel. This is a new revelation for me. I had no desire to rewatch them at all, and now I start thinking to myself, you know what? Maybe I want to check that out. Maybe there's a little bit more nuggets of that Star Wars feel hidden in those movies that I didn't pick out before.
And you know
And my
what
whole
started it?
thing behind and before we get too deep into the weeds talking about the sequels, because that's not the point of the stream,
Mm-hmm.
my theory behind that video, what I wanted to get across was these movies, shows, comics, books, games are windows to look through into the universe of Star Wars. It's our universe, it's our history, just a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. What we see of the movies are retellings of that history. And there's creative licenses in how you do that. When you watch Saving Private Ryan, you're not watching World War II before your eyes. You're watching a retelling of that. So, yeah, sorry, Brandon. But if you have a dirty and scratched up window, whatever scenery is still beyond it, your viewing experience is not going to be as pleasurable. That's kind of what I equated it to. I worded it better in that video, so definitely check that out.
Right.
Except
So
Brandon probably don't want to see it.
that's okay. All right. So, but real quick, we do have some more people that are joining both in your chat and mine. So let's just one more time recap what this theory is that we're talking about. So basically, the point is I feel like the fan base as a whole has kind of been just blindly accepting that these Disney Plus shows, at least within the Mandoverse, have been happening chronologically in the order that they've been released. Mando season 1 to season 2 to Boba to season 3 to Ahsoka. But the theory that I propose is that is not what's happening. What's happening is we have the ending of the Ahsoka episode in Mando season 2, where she captures Morgan Elsbeth, asks her where Grand Admiral Thrawn is. Elsbeth is taken into custody, taken to Coruscant for trial. But while on the way, of course, we know that she gets rescued by Baylan Skoll and Shin, thus kickstarting the events of the Ahsoka show. And all of this is going to lead to that moment where Ahsoka meets with Luke on that temple where he's training Grogu. Basically, that the Ahsoka show is happening before Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, and again, this may be completely obvious to everyone else, and this may be something that was meant to be obvious by the creators of the show, but from every channel that I've seen, it's almost like they're blindly accepting that we are getting these shows in chronological order. Mando 1, Mando 2.
Black Dragon is saying it right here. Star
Thank
Wars
you.
movies were released 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. And Clone Wars episodes were released out of chronological order too.
Yeah. Yeah, Kat says it right there. Just several storylines. But Mando 2, Ahsoka, Boba Fett smooths out a whole lot of questions that a lot of people had.
Yeah. And if we're wrong, then we're wrong. You know, we'll take that one on the chin and keep moving.
Yeah.
Cat DRL2 says it's more like the Fury's busy week analogy, where there are several parallel storylines all coming together in Dave's Endgame movie. And Ian also said, well, I'm a sucker for a good story, but I'm so analytical that I pick out any flaw I see. Trust me, I know. In a movie, almost unintentionally, and with the sequel trilogies, it's basically sensory overload.
That's me with music. Yep. Sequel acceptance, no choice, but there are some great pearls. Star Wars timeline is muddy on purpose. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it just makes a whole lot of sense. And the more I'm thinking about it, it's like, yeah, that's so obvious. Why didn't I think about that before? I watch your vid, but I can't do Disney Star Wars. Gave them the chance and they blew it. Fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough. At least you're not
Here,
one of the
I
people that's
sent.
commenting on every video telling us why we shouldn't enjoy it.
Yes, I sent. By the way, Ian, I sent you the link to this video already, but I went ahead and put your accepting the sequel trilogy for haters video in the
Yeah.
chat here, so you
It's a
guys should
short
be able to hear
video,
it.
and my point in the video, and I say that in there, is not to convince anyone that these are good movies. I don't believe that they are. But for the
Yes.
people that are blinded by their hatred of them, it might give you a little bit more of a perspective to at least come to peace with them yourself.
Mm-hmm. And
That's kind of
hello,
what I was trying to do.
excuse me. Hello to Scoundrels Cantina, who says, "Isn't the Force Awakens the end game to these shows, though?" Yeah, that is true. All roads lead to the sequel trilogy.
Yep.
Unfortunately, whether you like it or whether you like it or not. And again, that goes back to his video. You don't have to like it, but at this point, why waste the mental energy denying it?
Yeah. Dan V Man says Ahsoka is the best thing that came out since the Clone Wars Siege of Mandalore. I can definitely see that. If we get, and I'll say this right now, if we get another episode like the one we just got of the latter three that we have this season, man, the coffee's kicking in. I will rank this above Andor. It's very close right now. And the reason that I'm saying that is because Andor was phenomenal, fantastic. It's exactly what I wanted and more from that show. But, and this is probably your biggest gripe with it, it didn't have some of that Star Wars magic.
Exactly.
This show does.
Yes.
This show has some of the little cheesiness, the space battles, the Force, the family.
Oh man, I think you have blown KG's mind with that.
This episode is hitting me so hard in the feeling of Star Wars. This is something I haven't felt again as what was it, Dan the Man that said that? Since the Siege of Mandalore. That was the last time that I felt this Star Wars. You can feel the
Right.
Force.
And real quick, Brandon says TIFIF. Let me tell you, I know what he's trying to say, but let me tell you what TIF actually stands for. It actually stands for the Force is family.
The Force is feminist.
Well, here on Fandomology, it's the Force is family. You know what? I'm gonna go back to just closing every stream like that. I'll open with where fandoms collide, but I'm gonna close from now on with the Force's family because that's too good to give up.
The Force doesn't stomp with Star Wars. The Force, it's an energy field created by all living things.
Exactly.
It surrounds us and penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together.
Yeah. Scoundrels Cantina says, to be fair, I mostly give it a headcanon, and as far as I'm ever been concerned, despite liking the EU a lot, Return of the Jedi is where the story ends. I deny canonicity to the entire Mando universe.
Fair enough, and a lot of people don't even accept the prequels in their headcanon. So
yeah.
That's
By
fine.
the way, hello to What's the Takeaway, who says, I'm still convinced Heir to the Empire would have been a better sequel. I do agree.
Yeah. Oh, what else was I going to say? Just the Star Wars magic is in this show, and I'm serious about that. If we get another episode like this one where it made me feel those certain ways, I will rank this above Andor as the best.
There is something we do have to remember for this next episode. This next episode, we are guaranteed to see the outside of the Star Wars galaxy for the first time. Yes. So there's a lot riding on that. They're either going to pull it off really well, or it's going to flop.
Yep. Ahsoka is pure Star Wars, both feet in mythology. Andor is another level of execution in writing and direction, and Foundation is beyond both. Yeah, and Andor was technically fantastic. Storytelling, perfect. Dialogue, script, cinematography, it was all perfect, but it did not have the taste of Star Wars.
It didn't have the Force.
The Force, the family, the slight bit of cheesiness, and that's not what they were going for. So what they did in that show was exactly what they were going for. Traitor! But this show has it. I never with Andor came away from an episode feeling like this is Star Wars. A couple times I got a little close, but I got that in spades in this last episode of Ahsoka.
Yes. Secondary headcanon where the EU happens after Return of the Jedi would be a perfect place for some of the Mandoverse stuff, like the Anakin Ahsoka scenes, for example, and generally the continuation of surviving Clone Wars and Rebels into the post Return of the Jedi EU timeline. What's the takeaway says, when I was younger, my friends and I played the Star Wars tabletop RPG. I would like to try that at some point, by the way. I never played a Force-sensitive character. I was a spy or a scoundrel. Andor hit me in the feels because those are my guys. And
Yep,
Brandon
I see
says,
that.
and/or felt like a back to tank.
I think you mean the Polynesian spa. There
Yes.
are no words.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's, again, what do you guys think of our theory where we have the Ahsoka show happening after that episode of Mando Season 2, but before Book of Boba Fett? What do you guys think? Leave it in, of course, both of our comment sections here on Fandomology and over on Coffee on Korriban.
Yep.
And tell us whether or not you agree, disagree, whether there's an angle that we are not looking at it from, and just let us know. Black Dragon says,
I disagree with that. I thought it was really good.
I will say this. I went back and did my homework and actually watched the Ahsoka scenes in Book of Boba Fett, and they did throw some of Luke in there. I will say that the Luke stuff that they did, that did not age well. So the Anakin stuff was at least better than that.
Yeah. By the way, if you guys would be so inclined, two things. First, if you want, delicately tap that like button. You don't have to, but it helps both of us out. Second, if you are watching from my stream, because we're mooch streaming right now, we're simulcasting. If you're not subscribed to Fandomology, please do it for me. Let's get him to 500. Let's see if we can do that tonight. I know there's a lot of crossover with all these people that are subscribed to both channels, but if you're not, definitely subscribe to his channel. I would appreciate it.
And Scoundrels Cantina says at least they de-aged him, unlike in Kenobi.
Fair point.
Yes, thank goodness.
So, people complain about member berries all the time. Anakin in Kenobi felt thrown in.
Yeah.
Not much reverence played to the character or the actor. This episode felt extremely respectful to both Hayden Christensen Anakin and Matt Lanter Anakin. Very respectful. What's the takeaway? Says, buy yourselves a cup of coffee. Well, we'll just have to do that because Paul's actually coming into my neck of the woods next week. I don't know how much time we'll be able to have to do some stuff, but we'll buy some coffee. So
yes,
thank you.
absolutely.
I appreciate that. And if I was streaming as the primary on my channel, I would play the video clip right now, but I can't do that. Paul can play a video clip.
I can do, let me think of something here. Something super chat-ish. Well, Ebian likes to play random clips for their super chat, so I'll do the same thing. So here's a flashback to a funny gaming moment.
Hey, I can be, I can sound like, Cash Money. Did you know that?
Do it.
Let's hear it.
Oh my god. No. They put woke stuff. They put woke stuff in my Star Wars.
I'd never seen that before.
Okay, so here's the story behind that real quick. That was on just a random Skyrim stream, which, by the way, those are coming back. It was on a random Skyrim stream, and it was one of those usual things where I was in my Discord with Cash, Crit, and Phil, and Crit was playing around with his little voice changer program, and he basically just started spamming through different things, from chipmunk sounds to really dark sounds to sounding like Megatron to even getting the right voice down. And me and him were like directly quoting from Star Trek V, which I got to play the clip since I mentioned Star Trek V. So Phil, here's this for you. Hashtag justice for Star Trek V.
Excuse me, I'd just like to ask a question. What does God need with a starship? I said, what does God need with a starship?
Jim, what are you doing? I'm asking you a question.
Also, hello in the chat to Jedi Mike, which again, dude, thank you so much for joining my stream Wednesday. You were a treat to have on, and honestly, I'd like to have you on again just to get to know you a little bit better and hear a little bit more of your story as a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, highlight what Tom said real quick.
Where is it? Oh, here it is.
Tom always has great comments. One thing to add, Ahsoka is now balanced in the Force. Kanan in Rebels. Sabine can't or won't seek balance. She's blocked. Ahsoka's newfound balance will unlock Sabine in the Force. Completely agree.
Mm-hmm.
Completely
I think
agree.
it is.
And here's a question. Going back, sorry to cut you off. Going back to what we were talking about with his whole theory in general, was Ahsoka in the Book of Boba Fett balanced, would you say?
Yes. Yeah, I would 100% say that.
Yes. Thank you, Kay.
Thank you. And here's the thing too. Crap, I forgot what I was gonna. Let me look at this. Oh yeah. Okay, so I remember. They've been teasing it this whole show, this idea of Sabine using the Force. You know, we had the first tease of her trying to move the cup, but she didn't. We had the second tease of her holding her hand out. Maybe she's going to use the Force on Sin, but no, psych.
She might have actually pushed her just a little bit. I watched it back. She might have given her a little Force shove on the shoulder.
I don't think so. I think that was just the recoil of the darts.
Maybe.
Yes.
Let Korriban's peeps get the link. Can I post the link? The link to Paul's channel, right? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Let me post it in there.
So yeah, definitely. Like I said, if we are wrong about this theory, fine. You know, we'll basically theorize another day. Live to theorize another day.
I like this theory so much that if it's not true, it feels like a wasted opportunity.
I do have to agree. Now,
all right, everyone, let me know if that link I just put for Fandomology in the chat works, because he is
489.
10 subscribers. 10 subscribers away from hitting 500. Can we do that tonight? Everyone in the chat that's here from my channel, click that link. Please give Paul your subscription. He does great Star Wars, Star Trek, all kind of fandoms. It's the study of fandoms.
Exactly. We have brought back, by the way, a series that we tried a long time ago. It's called Beginner Series, where I've been having different guests on that are knowledgeable about a different franchise, be it video game based or movie based or whatever, and basically breaking it down for someone that potentially may not have heard of it before. So the most recent one we did was Five Nights at Freddy's. That was part 1, because for those that know, there's a lot to Five Nights at Freddy's.
I got into a little bit of FNAF, but there's so much there that I already subbed in a mod. Well, thanks for being here. That's all we have.
Yeah, thank you. And Black Dragon, Yes, we will definitely do some anime stuff with you. 100%. No, that was my link that Tim posted. We
Yeah,
can get that one too.
Yeah, we can get Jedi mics in there as well. I forget because we're multi-streaming that some people just don't. They're not able to see the
right
comments for the other stream.
I know for a fact
you,
that
Kat.
anything
Appreciate
I
that.
post can't go into your chat. So
Yeah, probably
I'm
anything
grabbing
I
that.
post can't go.
I'm grabbing the link for you now for Jedi Mike.
We're still learning how to do this multi-streaming.
Yeah. So while I'm grabbing this, by the way, I'm talking, kind of changing subject for a second into theme park stuff. And by the way, thank you to CatDRL2 for subbing. But my sister texted me something very interesting about Lightning Rod at Dollywood, and I want to know if you've heard about this.
Yes,
They're
I
shutting
have.
it down and retrofitting it with a chain lift.
Supposedly a high-speed chain lift, which means chain lift.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the ride supposedly is going to be the same. I sure hope that they convert the rest of the track to iBox, because there's some portions of it that are, I mean, they've got potholes in some parts of the track because it was originally a hybrid coaster with, you know, the steel topper track.
Mm-hmm.
Then they converted about 75% of it to iBox, but there's some parts of it that are still wood with topper, and they're rough. They're noticeable to where, Dollywood is in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, about an hour away from where I am. And
It's basically a big theme park, of course, themed to Dolly Parton. It's gone through many different iterations over the years.
Yeah.
I think the most well-known before it became Dollywood was Silver Dollar City.
Correct.
But it's a really nice and a very, very family-friendly theme park too. So if you're not willing to spend money on the Disney parks, definitely take them to Dollywood, because not only will they be not, we'll say, woke, but they're definitely cheaper too.
Yes. Yeah, we love Dollywood. We'll be there tomorrow, actually, in a couple hours.
Yeah.
But we're going there tomorrow. We go there pretty much every weekend that I have off. It's great. That's on the other side of the country from me, but it sounds like fun. Well, hit me up if you are ever in East Tennessee, and I will get you into Dollywood.
Absolutely. Ian says
I'm a truck driver. Okay, so you probably drive on the 40. I bet we've been within like 2 miles of each other at some point.
Probably. KG says, I haven't been to Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg in years.
Yeah.
Black Dragon, that comment you just sent's a little edgy, but I'll just go ahead and read it. He says, so it's a triple E theme park.
Over my head. I don't get it.
Let's leave it that way.
Sure.
I got it. And yes, Jedi Mike. Yeah, this one was a closed show, but we will do more open panels in the future where we'll be happy to have you on.
I'll have you on my channel sometime too.
Yeah.
So, if you haven't, Jedi Mike, join my Discord. I don't remember if you're in there or not. Then you can message me and I'll get you on.
Yeah, here. Tell you what, I'm going to really quick grab a link to both of our Discords, and I'm going to drop them both in the chat. So yours
I'll
first.
I'll drop mine.
Okay, you drop yours.
You can drop yours to yours and
all right, so
whatever else.
So of course, if you guys are not part of either of our Discords, please join, because in his you get a lot of good Star Wars discussions kind of that happen after the cameras stop rolling, and then with mine you just get a lot of chaotic gaming streams.
Yeah. The discussions in my Discord server are fantastic. They're exactly what you would expect. It's like going into a coffee shop, but everyone there talks Star Wars.
Yes.
It's really nice.
Yes.
And it's at that perfect size where there's like usually people active in there, but it's not just like an endless stream of comments and you can't carry a conversation.
Dr. Chaos lives. Yes. And his name is Phil McCracken. But anyways, though, let's see. Real quick before we go, what was that one brand new coaster that we didn't get to ride last time?
Let's see. Big Bear Mountain is the newest edition. That's the one they added. It's a Vekoma family coaster, multi-launch. It is great. It's great. My 4-year-old loves it, and I love it. It's really good. It's really.
And then there was that one wooden one we skipped last time, right?
Thunderhead is a great coaster. They redid probably a quarter of the track, and it's running really well this year.
Awesome.
So
if we'll
check that out.
If we are able to meet up, that is like the first thing I want to do when we meet up.
Thunderhead is a great ride. Back row, it might be my favorite ride in the park, ahead of Lightning Rod.
Which is saying something because you set a record on Tennessee Tornado.
I did, yeah. Yes, I did set a record, most rides in a day on one of the aero loopers they have there, Tennessee Tornado. 3 inversions, 150 feet drop or something. And I rode it 97 times in one day. And the hardest part was not keeping myself from throwing up. It was the stairs, because you have to go down the stairs and back up the stairs through the line every single time. And I did that 97 times. From when they opened, I ran to the ride, and I did not get off the ride until they closed.
Black Dragon says, watch Rhinestone and you'll understand my comments. Just keep in mind, going into Rhinestone, Sylvester Stallone can't sing.
I'll probably
Darren says, Dollywood sounds something like a redneck Disneyland, but cheaper and better.
Yeah, so that is exactly what I thought before I moved to Tennessee. I grew up, a little bit of backstory, I grew up going to Disneyland in Anaheim, California, twice a week. We were all homeschooled, so my mom would bring us into Disneyland with our schoolwork. We would ride a ride, come back, do some schoolwork. Ride a ride, come back, and do some schoolwork. And this is back where, during the week, there'd be maybe 100 people in the entire park. There was no one there in my childhood in Disneyland. So I wanted that for my children, obviously. But we moved to Tennessee. Oh, they have Dollywood. Pff, great. I don't like country music. I don't really listen to Dolly Parton. She's probably a good singer, but what do I care? Do they have some roller coasters? Oh, okay, some pretty good roller coasters. We'll check it out. It's probably just country music. There's a little bit of that, but it's a quality theme park. Yes. It is not just redneck Disneyland, but cheaper and better. It is, if you don't want your kids to be corrupted by Disney, take them to Dollywood. It is a very family-friendly atmosphere with great rides, shows, food, all that stuff. It's
Although, in fairness, specifically Disney World in Florida has gotten rid of a lot, if not all, of their DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. So things could be looking up.
Maybe, but I don't feel like my kids are going to see someone that I'll have to explain in Dollywood.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. KG says, I don't do much country, but Dolly is cool.
I definitely, the songs that I've heard of hers, I can really appreciate. And I've seen her before in Dollywood. She's there all the time, which is really cool.
Lucky?
Yeah. Yeah, probably Black Dragon.
All right, well, I am ready to shut this down if you are. We've gone about an hour on your channel, 2 hours, 14 minutes on mine. So anything else we want to cover before we get out of here?
I can't believe that this didn't occur to me sooner, the theory of the timelines. And I don't know with saucer bumper cars in the 60s. I like Autopia.
No, we have not seen it yet. Nope. But I have heard it's good.
Going back to the theory, I just can't believe that I didn't think of that about this before. And maybe it's just obvious to everyone else, but it explains a whole lot. And I'm going to make a video on it right now. You guys will see it. You guys will see it on my channel in maybe about an hour. Because I'm going to make that before I go to bed. Definitely.
Sounds good. All right. Well, guys, we are going to go ahead and end it here. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to, I don't care what, yes. Okay. So if you're watching on Tim's channel, make sure you delicately tap the like button. But if you're watching on my channel, hit that like button as hard as you want. But
Good luck with your broken phones.
Make sure you hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. May the stash be with you. And just remember, everyone, the Force is family. And we'll see you later. Oh, forgot the clip.